What's going on? Welcome to another episode of In the Box. We got my co-host DJ Ron, and we got Mr. Spectacular himself on here. You know what I mean? Triple threat, Rick Reed, music producer, singer, songwriter.
All right,
man, and we got a crazy show for you that's coming.
Yeah,
we're gonna come right back here.
Fundamentals and building blocks. Turn to advice when I'm in that spot. When I got questions, and that's a lot. Perfect time to hear from Rico in the box.
All right.
Yeah.
Man, welcome to another episode of In the Box, man. And
the box, man. Yes.
And it's a blessing, man, that we can be here on another Friday night.
Yes, it is.
You know, spend a little time, man, build a little bit, you know, grow a little bit.
Let's grow.
You know, so a couple of things, man, we're going to get out the way, man. You know, keep in mind, don't forget about Music Industry Makeover every Thursday night at 9 p.m. with DJ Run and Run, myself, and Simone Herring, you know, and Music Industry. Talk about a little bit about Music Industry Makeover, man.
Yes, we're a marketing, promotions, entertainment company, or communications company, helping to build platforms, bring platforms for artists like you out there, so that you can present the gospel, okay, without all the struggle and things like that. And look, you know, we work with artists through marketing and promotions and PR work. So get at us, musicindustrymakeover.com. We have a few podcast shows, my video top 10 videos of the week. All right, Critical Dialogue, Music Industry Makeover, okay, sound sessions, 21st century authors, in the box, and more. So look, hey, you all need to get with us. Let's take this world by storm for Christ. All right.
Amen. And if you can, don't forget to make sure you subscribe to In the Box on that YouTube if you can. It'll be under Southern Emperor. That way you can kind of click that bell, man, so you notice that when we post up a show or something. Of course, if you miss any other episode, we have other episodes there already. And if you are still if you're still working from home, you're still trying to get a hold of this virtual thing, you know, Finio Max, you know, actually doing websites for $99, man, you can't beat that.
Cannot,
you know,
with a stick. No.
At all. You know, just like $99 mobile responsive, you know, help your business grow as well. I hit the wrong one. Oh, all right. I'm gonna say we finna end the show already, man. So if you don't know how to master your own music, of course, I master your music for $10. I get it back to you within 2 hours, HD. We get you sounding right, man, as well. And then also, if you do need your song mixed and mastered, only charge $8.50 per stem, you know, and we get you sounding like the pros, man. And with that being said, we got Rick Reed, man.
Rick Reed in the house.
It's good.
What's been going on, bro? What's happening with you, man?
Oh man, I just been trying to stay busy, man. You know, it's COVID got us stuck in the house, man. So it's just more time to work on some music, man. So I just been working on some new stuff, doing some writing, doing some producing. So I'm just, you know, in the lab, man.
Man, I met you, man, a few years back. Well, more than a few years back, when I was working on Javon McKenzie's album,
Yes,
man.
Sir.
And like, bro, the vocals, man, the singing, like you and Big Phil, y'all cats being crazy, bro. If you and Big Phil became a group, I don't think nobody made to stop y'all jokers, man.
Hey, shout out to Javon McKenzie and Big Phil, man. I love y'all, bro.
Yeah, man. Look at here, boy. Being able to sing, man, write and produce. You know, how did that come together, man? How did you start one before the other, or did you? Which talent, man, you kind of started first, bro?
Well, I've been singing since I was little, man. My first time singing in front of people was probably about 5 or 6 years old. So I've always been singing, you know. I've always been influenced by, you know, R&B and all that stuff. But I got into hip hop probably, man, around 17, 18, somewhere around there, you know. So I've been doing that for a little while. As far as producing, man, my cousin, I don't know what she goes by, S Brown or something like that, but she actually taught me how to make beats. I would just sit and, you know, she would be on a computer just, you know, playing the keys and making beats and stuff, and I would just sit back and watch her, you know, and just soak up everything that she did. So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't know how to produce music, you know. So
now where are you originally from?
I'm from Jacksonville, Duval County, you know.
Okay, all right. Do you remember Shabak Entertainment?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, man.
So you started producing, man, first. What do you remember, man, what you was producing on, man, when you started, bro?
I started producing, first started producing just using a regular Casio keyboard, recording to a cassette tape.
So do you remember what version of Casio, man, you was using?
I do not remember. It was one of them things you find at Radio Shack.
I heard that name. Radio Shack.
Because I had the same board, man, and the thing, you know, you thought you was doing something, man, when you first got it, until you really figured out what you was doing, and you couldn't really save your stuff.
Right.
You know? So I had the same Yamaha, this old Yamaha board, man, you know, and it was really like a Casio, and you couldn't save nothing on it. So I'll make a beat, and because when you turn it off, it's gonna erase the beat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you make a beat, you just leave the power on and just let the song play over and over again.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
What I had to do, I had a tape recorder, cassette tape recorder with two decks. So I would play the part, the whole song through on the keyboard, record it onto the tape, play it back while recording the second part, and I would have to record the whole thing kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of from another cassette tape to another cassette tape. It was crazy.
Boy, and it's crazy, man, how we evolve when we start. Yeah. And then now you got your semi-weighted, you know, piano, man. You using Reason, you know, we talked about. You know, the question I want to ask you, man, you know, as an independent artist, what has been some of the obstacles that's been very, very hard as an independent artist that you found to overcome, and that other artists that you know, because a lot of times, a lot of cats try to front like they really okay and it's cool, and they don't have no obstacles to overcome.
Right.
What are some obstacles, bro, as an independent artist that's been very, very challenging to overcome?
I think the main obstacle that comes along a lot of times is sometimes you go through like a block where using the same sounds, you got to constantly be gathering new sounds, looking for new drum kits, new keys and stuff like that. Because when you use the same sounds over and over again, it's like you can only use the same sound a certain amount of time before it becomes monotonous. So a struggle is keeping your stuff fresh. You know what I mean? And that just you know, involves constantly doing research, constantly looking for stuff, looking for new materials. If you know how to make your own sounds, making your own sounds, because that keeps your inspiration fresh. You know what I'm saying?
Like I'll say kudos to that, man, because let me see, we got a kind of who see here. Oh, hey, what's going on? Glad to have you, man. Glad to have you, bro. Glad to have you. Okay. Edify show, man. Glad to have you, bro.
God bless you.
And that's one of the things, man, that as a music producer, man, I don't like using the same sound twice. So I spend a large amount of my time collecting sounds. You know what I mean? I got like 15 hard drives, right? And each hard drive probably have about 3 terabytes, 4 terabytes.
Yeah.
You know, drum kits, VST instruments. You know what I mean? Because that beat block, man, is real. You just get bored, man. You try to find inspiration, man.
Real.
So outside of the sounds, being an independent artist, being a Christian independent artist, what's another obstacle, man, that you found that's been very, very challenging in getting your music out, man, and trying to find success as you define it for yourself?
Yeah. My main thing is the whole marketing side. I mean, I'm good. I can make a beat, I can sing, I can rap, I can do all that stuff. I can perform, I can rock out a crowd and all that. But when it comes to marketing, that's where my struggle comes in. You know, how to market to an audience to get them to want to purchase it. It's one thing having, you know, talent and everything, but that's another whole skill that, you know, has to be developed.
Now, when you're making music, do you have in mind who you're making music for? The audience that you want to make music for?
Not necessarily. I just, what God gives me, that's what comes out. You know, I don't necessarily have a target audience because the music that I don't make music in just like one type of genre. So I might, you know, have a hip hop song here, or, you know, then the next day I might have a pop song or a R&B song, or the next day I might have a country song. I've even written country music. You know what I'm saying? So I try to stay as eclectic as possible, and I take pride in not the audience not knowing what's coming next. You know,
Right.
So they don't know whether to expect some hip hop or some country or some ballad music. You know.
Okay. So when you tracking, so how do you, what's your process, man, when you get ready to start tracking? Do you like for instance, for me, if I'm making a song, I don't really want to listen to nothing else because it's gonna mess with my creativity, right? And you know, so but what's your process when you start writing a song? Do you create your music first as a singer? You know what I mean? Then you go back and you write to your own creation, or do the words come to you for you? Because every, you know, triple threat, and I say because you're a producer, you're a singer, and you're a songwriter, you write for other people too. What's your process? You know?
I really don't have a set. I really don't have a set process. I mean, if it flows, it flows. Sometimes I'm just riding in the car, and I just start singing this melody in my head. Sometimes I'm riding in the car and I just start singing this song that I never heard before, you know?
Okay.
And I just have to pull out my voice recorder on my phone and record it like that. There's a lot of songs that I write without even writing it down, you know? So sometimes it comes to me like that. Sometimes I'm just sitting there listening to it. I might be looking at TV and a commercial will come on and somebody will say some random phrase or some random jingle will come on and it'll jumpstart something in my head. Oh snap! I got an idea. I gotta go jot that down real quick, you know.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I'm listening to some music and you know it's a certain type of beat that gives me some type of inspiration. It's like, oh man, that just gave me an idea for a type of track, you know. So it's whatever comes first. Sometimes I'll make a beat and I'll forget that beat is even there. Then 2-3 years down the road, you know, I'm just looking through my stuff and I'm like, oh man, I forgot I even made that beat, you know? And I started listening to it and vibing, and the next thing you know, in 15 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, I got a full song and I'm recording it, you know what I mean? Sometimes I start writing on a song. There was a time where I started writing on a song just off of some inspiration that I got from listening to another song. And I started writing on it, but I got stuck. And I would say about 5 years later, the thought of that song came back into my mind. And after 5 years of having a piece of this song written, I was able to sit down and write that in about 15 minutes, you know? So it's just however it comes is how it comes. How God gives it to me, that's how He gives it to me. So, you know, I don't try to control it. I don't try to box it in. It's just let it flow, you know?
I was telling another guy, man, the other day, man, is that it's crazy, man, how I create a song, like I said, I created a song like 10 years ago, and you just have it, you move on to something else, and you know, you're like, man, I don't really feel that, and somebody else come through and you bump and they love it and they want it, and they, you know, and it's 10 years old and it's classic, man. So your music is your legacy, and you gotta kind of be mindful of that, man. So talk about, man, some of your musical inspirations, like who inspires you musically?
My biggest inspiration in music, I'm a Stevie Wonder fan. Like I love Stevie Wonder. Anything Stevie is just what Stevie Wonder brought to music, man. I don't know if it's a superpower from the blindness or something, but you know, just his songwriting is just impeccable. You know, and
Right.
not only does his songwriting mesh well with his production and his you know, his instrumentation, because he plays a lot of those instruments himself. Not only that, but then it meshes well with his delivery of the music. So, you know, I listen to a lot of Stevie Wonder, listen to, you know, how his songwriting goes, the way that it flows, the way that he modulates in the middle of a song to a crazy key that you wouldn't even think about, you know?
Right. Right.
Just Stevie Wonder has just been a big inspiration for me for a long time, man. So.
Now, do you want to just stick within gospel, or do you want to branch out? You know, to
I
other
do Christian music, you know. I mean, I might make a beat for, you know, a person that does secular music or stuff like that, but for the most part, if you hear me on a song, most likely it's gonna be a Christian song. I mean, that's just who I am. Like, God don't lead me to write nothing else, you know. Like, it's all about that business, man.
Yeah, I think.
So. Go ahead, Ron.
Oh, no, I was saying, you know, I think we need that Stevie Wonder style in gospel more, as that urban flavor. So, because a lot of young people like yourself, you know, may not get the radio play on the traditional gospel station because they have an idea of what gospel should sound like. And, you know, again, those days are over with. Yeah, go ahead, Rico.
No, man, I was going to say, man, when you mentioned that, you know, you do gospel music, that's your focus. You know, when cats come, because I mean, you can sing, so I know a lot of people, man, come to you and they want you to do something. How do you approach that, you know, when you got a mainstream artist to say, because when there's not a lot of singers, man, that can sing and that have soul, that have range, like you got both. How do you approach that to determine if a mainstream artist say, well, hey man, I need you to do a hook, you know, how do you approach that? Which, you know, how do you deal with that? You know, in a sense.
Just, you know, plain and simple, because I've had that, you know, plenty of times where I just let them know, man, I do Christian music. So if it's a gospel song, we can rock. If it's not, you know, I mean, sometimes if it's depending on the music, like I tell them straight off the bat, I don't hop on nothing that's a bunch of cussing, a bunch of sex, a bunch of drugs, and that glorifies a bunch of stuff that I don't believe in, that's detrimental to my community. You know what I'm saying? So if it's uplifting, if it's gonna bring some positive change, if it's gonna bring people to think differently and build my community, then I'll probably consider it. But I gotta check it out first. You know what I mean? But ultimately, I let them know straight off the bat, hey, I'm a Christian artist. You know what I'm saying? So if that's what you want to rock with, that's what you want to rock with. But that's
you know, and the thing that I love about you, man, and like we was talking, man, before we start doing the show, is that everybody that I have on this show, man, I have a level of respect for. I ain't gonna never have nobody on this show because I don't like the fake stuff. I like people to be who they are. You know, we don't do nothing scripted, man. But what I love about you, you've always been a stand-up dude, and you've always kind of just said your piece. You know what I mean? What do in your frame of mind? What is it that we can do as a body of musicians? You know, because we get a lot of flack on a lot of ends because if we don't really, you know, we're working 9 to 5. We have to work at 9 to 5. Whenever we try to get outside of the box of 9 to 5 and try to make money, you know, we get a lot of people who don't support us, and the body of Christ don't support us. You know, and obviously, you know, other musicians don't support other musicians unless there's a jam session and we been playing. You know what I'm saying? But you know, what are some ways that producers, artists, you know, whether rappers, singers, what are some ways that they can stay encouraged and then really try to continue? Because a lot of people, man, give up hope doing Christian music because they can't make money from it, because the world kind of looks at us like the mainstream, like, man, well, you know, I ain't really into that God stuff, that God music.
Yeah.
And then the church say, well, man, you know, if you ain't playing like Dunn and McClurkin and Smoking Norfolk,
right?
You know, that's that devil music. Because I don't like the way your chords sound like Anthony Hamilton. You sound like you know what I'm saying? So
they don't like
talk about that, man. Yeah, talk about that, bro. Talk about how can we overcome that mindset?
Oh man, I think a lot of it is just it comes with just continuing to work on your craft and be the best that you can be at what you do. You know what I mean? I think that's the most important because if what you putting out is quality stuff and you stay consistent with that, you don't just have the mindset that it's not working out, so I'm gonna back up off of it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm even speaking to myself on this, man. God will always make a room for you. You know what I'm saying? Your gifts will make room for you. So continue getting better at what you do. Because when you put out quality stuff and people start to hear it, they're not going to have a choice but to respect it. And, they're going to want to support it. You know what I'm saying? But it takes that consistency with saying, not saying that, I'm just going to quit on it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what my main thing I would say is consistency. Just be consistent. Even though you don't feel like doing it, sometimes you're just gonna have to get up and do it. Grit your teeth. I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna get better at it. And when people hear it, they gotta respect it. If your stuff is good, your stuff is good. And God don't have a problem with getting resources. That's one thing that I had to learn is that I was always worried about, I don't have the money to do this. I don't have the resources. God don't have a problem getting money to you. God don't have a problem getting resources to you, but you got to stay faithful and you got to stay consistent because the moment you slack off, the moment that it's going back off. You know what I'm saying? So your consistency and your willingness to work for what you want, because you see a lot of cats in the game right now. There's cats in the game right now that I could rap circles around, that I could sing circles around. But the main thing is they didn't get there just because of their talent. They got there because they were able to work hard. They were willing enough to work hard at it. While everybody else is asleep or everybody else is playing 2K, you know what I'm saying? They in the lab working on their gift. They getting better. They learning chords, how to play keys, and learning music theory and stuff like that. Just mixing techniques and stuff like that. Another thing is to keep the middleman out of it, man. I wanted to be able to. I'm the type of person I like to be able to do everything by myself. If I could, I'd be the one shooting the video and the one in front of the camera dancing, you know what I'm saying? So I went to school to learn how to engineer, how to get better at that. You know what I'm saying? So just working at that, perfecting your gift and being consistent and being willing to work when everybody else is resting. I think that's the biggest thing you can do.
Yeah, you definitely dropped nuggets, bro, for sure. And key thing, like you say, consistency. That's where a lot of artists seem to fall off. And they give up because they fall from the first sign of an obstacle that may come.
Yeah.
The thing that I see, man, I see a lot of, and I find myself having this conversation all the time when I meet artists or artists that they want to work. The thing that a lot of independent artists, especially more so Christian artists, like we hate to practice. They hate. I ain't gonna say we because I'm not. I'm They really hate to practice. They really just want to perform, right? And they don't want to spend time behind the curtain training. It's always on ready to put out music. Talk about that, man, how important practicing, how important it is to delay that performance gratification, how important it is to delay putting out, because I always find myself talking to artists and telling artists, don't put out subpar music.
Right.
Don't put out music that's not been mixed and mastered.
Right.
Don't put out music that the song structure, is this. There's no change. Your songs sound the same all the way through. There's no bridge. There's no turnaround. There's no ramp. There's no excitement. There's no shock value in your music, except you just want to put out music. Talk about that, man. Why that's important.
I think the main thing you said is like people don't want to practice. It's like think of a football team that don't have practice. You know what I'm saying? And they're going out facing the greats. You're not going to expect them to be great if they never go over plays. You know what I'm saying? They don't know the difference between a fly route and a hook route. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's so many intricate things and intricate pieces that come to it. It's not just getting on a keyboard and pushing a couple of buttons and pushing a couple of keys on a computer and you got quality music. Nah, it takes skill. You know what I'm saying? Right. So if you're not willing to work on that skill, it's going to show in your finished product.
Come on.
I remember, man, when I was, I really started producing and I really got serious with my production. And even before I had the equipment, man, I started developing habits. Like I would produce, you know, I'll go to work and work for 8 hours, 9 hours on the job, maybe 10, come in, and I put another 8, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
on production and sleep, man, for 2 hours and get back and do it again, just like somebody had hired me to score, just like somebody hired me to make an album for them, and I had no access to anything. I was just beginning. So I developed those habits. And I remember my mom would say, boy, you need to go to bed. You got to go to work in the morning. Why you stand up there with that keyboard? And the thing is that I wanted to get better. And my goal was I didn't want to sound like anybody else. So there was years that I'll practice and I worked on tracking before I ever let anybody hear my music, man. So what's some positive things, man, that you can give an artist that's really so anxious? Because I don't get excited about doing music anymore because I want to create a legacy, right? And when you create a legacy, that's not something that you're going to do in 20 minutes, right? What are some positive things that you can tell an artist that's so anxious right now? They want to do music. They are trying to get to the next level in their life musically, and they got some old music out there that's just not really good. How do you feel about pulling old music, right? And going, because some artists, man, don't think that pulling old music is wrong because it's already out. Talk about that. Talk about that when you're trying to go to the next level. How do you approach that? Help an artist out today, bro.
I just approach it as I think my main thing is just never stop learning. You know what I'm saying? It's like always be learning. It don't matter how good you think you are. Never stop learning. Never stop learning how to make your music better. Listen to other artists. Like, don't stay in just one box where I only listen to trap music. If you stay in a box where I only listen to trap music, then you're minimizing your potential. You know what I'm saying? Listen to some classical music. Listen to some country music, man. Like some of the best writers that I've ever heard, country music, dude. You know what I mean? So it's just surrounding yourself with a plethora of things. If you continue to surround yourself with creativity, then creativity is what's going to come out of you. Whatever you surround yourself with is what's going to come out of you. So your input is going to be your output.
Wow.
Amen.
Yeah, powerful words right there, definitely. Yes. What's up, Brandon?
And what's going on? And the thing is that, as an artist, I understand, when you got a song in you, you know what I mean? And you're ready to get that song out, you're ready for the world to hit you, but then your first impression is always your last impression. You know what I mean? And I would, and because I had to start from a point, and then when you start and you kind of learn about you want a future with your music, and you can make a track today, as we open the show, we talked about, you can make a track today that somebody may want 5 years later.
Right.
Even though you created that song today, it may not even become active and desirable to 2025, 2026.
Yeah. I got an example of that. I don't know if y'all heard this. It's a song that's popular on the radio. I don't know so much right now, but I think that I found myself a cheerleader. That song. He had written that song 7 years prior to somebody hearing it and saying, you know what, I like that song, and they added a couple things and switched a couple things around and put the song out, and the next thing you know, it's all over the radio. He, you know what I'm saying, doing real big on just that song alone. So wow. It's exactly that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, 7 years.
Yeah. And again, artists cannot have that microwave mentality. And that's where the main problem is, and then when they want to get spiritual with it, like, oh yeah, God has anointed me to do this and that. I'm like, you still got to go through the process.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and the thing is, man, is you watch a lot of the music shows, and then especially when they was trying to do, when they were saying, hey, you need to do 10 beats a day, you're doing 10 beats a day, just how many of those 10 beats that you're doing are really dope, really well thought out? Because if you're trying to track 7 beats in an hour, you're not really thinking about what you're creating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that all lies on your skill. Because if you are Ryan Leslie or a B Michael Cox or something like that, your musicianship is so so crazy that you can push out a hit record in 15-20 minutes, But
Okay.
I'm not a key player like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, my musicianship is not on that level right there. So, I got to work at that, So
now you just mentioned 2 names that both of them cats dope. Ryan Leslie, Brian Michael Cox. Brian Michael Cox, man, on Social Death with Jermaine, got a crazy amount of hits. Ryan Leslie, Joker Man lost $1 million laptop, but and still come back, man, getting hits.
Yeah.
But the thing is talk about, man, as a singer, do you still get lessons, man, for on vocal lessons, or how's that coming? How do you keep your vocal sharp?
Just singing all the time. I'm actually the praise and worship leader at my church. Shout out to DTCC, Divine Truth Christian Center. Love y'all. But yes, I'm the praise and worship leader. So I have to use my voice every Sunday, and throughout the week I'm singing. If you're a singer, man, it's just you just sing all the time. It's one thing they pick on Ariana Grande about, because every time you see her, she's doing runs and singing and stuff. If it's in you, it's just in you, One way that I do try to, work on my voice and get my range better is singing songs from artists that are way out of my range, like Stevie Wonder, because Stevie Wonder's range is just up there. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm in the car driving by myself, I'm just singing them songs and working on hitting them notes. In addition to that, you get, vocal exercises that you can do over and over again, like the ha-ha, the running the scares, la, 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 la. All that stuff helps. Knowing what to input in your body before you sing, like it's not good to drink ice cold beverages. If you ever have put a stick of gum up to something cold and then you try to bend it and you notice how it more so breaks instead of bending, well, when you drink ice cold beverages before you sing, that's what it does to your vocal cords.
Wow.
The vocal cords are stiff and you're trying to sing, and that's why a lot of people injure their vocal cords. So make sure if you're drinking water and stuff like that, or drinking anything, make sure it's room temperature. I always tell singers that before you go on the stage, if you're drinking something cold, you need to stop that. Drinking warm tea, not hot tea, because that could do some damage too. I encourage to when I do my tea, I take a tiny bit of cayenne pepper. I learned this from my homeboy Tim Moses Boy Music. What's up, man? But yeah, a tiny bit of cayenne pepper and lemon juice and honey to sweeten it, not sugar. And that helps to break up a lot of the buildup that'll be in your vocal cords. You know what I'm saying? You'll notice that it sounds a lot more clear. There's not much more blocking what you're trying to put out.
So Brandon says, yeah, room temperature degrees, room temperature water only. Demetrius just said, what's y'all thoughts on YouTube free training versus paid coaching for learning? No subject specifically, just in general. What's your thoughts on YouTube free training versus paid coaching for learning? No subject specifically, just in general. You want to tackle that first, Rick? You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I think they each have their pros and cons. A lot of times you get what you pay for, but it also takes a lot of being able to do the correct type of research. You got to know what you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to call it YouTube University. Pretty much anything you want to learn, you can learn by going to YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like my headlights was out, and I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do to fix this. Man, I turned on YouTube, and it was a 7-year-old boy saying, "We're gonna show you how to fix your headlight on your car." I'm like, man, if I don't get my behind out there and fix this car, bro, the 7-year-old doing it. So you know. But like you said, it's at the same time, you get what you pay for. So if somebody has put in the time, they put in the training, they gone to school for it, and they know what they're doing, I would go for the person that is trained in that and has that expertise, instead of just trying to go at it alone and learn things on my own. There's nothing wrong with going at it on your own, but if you have access to somebody who has the training and is an expert at it, yo, take it.
I would say, everything that you said is correct. Now, I want to add a caveat to that. If you're gonna, because I stay on YouTube. YouTube is probably my number one channel. I probably watch YouTube more than anything else. However, what I found that certain people that are teaching on YouTube, when it comes to certain things, they all don't teach the same way. They all don't give you the same information. So if you're gonna learn something on YouTube, if you find a great teacher, you probably want to subscribe to his teachings and just learn his method. Because if you try to jump around to 4 or 5 different cats, man, teaching on the same thing, right, you can kind of become schizophrenic on the desired subject or that you're trying to learn. Because especially when it comes to music, everybody's gonna have their own way, right? They're gonna show you, and you can very well listen to one person and do everything they said, and then try to implement something that you learned from a new YouTube release, and it doesn't coincide with you learn, it kind of throw you off. So, but what I love that question, Demetrius, because when what you pay for, you're paying for someone to sit down and walk you through the ins and the outs, but you also have to trust that teacher that you're paying enough. You have to trust that experience enough to say, well, hey, I'm gonna learn this way. The problem that I find is that you have a lot of, especially when it comes to music artists, producers, singers, people listen to so many people. And even though you're in a class, you're learning something, you have a conversation with somebody, they tell you something different, and that person may have a name in the community or just may be a person of experience, and it kind of kills what you're already learning, and you end up not really progressing because you got 4 books, you're reading 4 books, 4 different authors on the same subject, and their process is not the same. Now, I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying out there, but you just want to be able to make sure you have one focus.
Yeah, you want to have a foundation first. If you learn a new skill, you don't want to be learning from this person and that person and this person when you don't have the foundational skills set there first and foremost. So I get what you're saying, man.
Oh, and so I remember when I started trying to master, I had about 4 or 5 people, man, that I was trying to learn from, and they all had a different method. And it was hard to get. So I ended up going to Rob Smith, this guy, this white cat out of the UK. Dope. His sessions was very, very easy to understand. I began to learn signal flow, right? And if you go to Full Sail and you learn signal flow, you can't mix and master without learning signal flow.
Right.
And I didn't know what that term was until I got in his class and he broke it down. And so and so when I learned signal flow, because none of the other teachers really broke signal flow down. They mentioned it, but they didn't dissect it, decode it to help you understand.
Right.
And so what I would say to that statement or that question, you got to know your learning style. Everybody has a learning style. Now that I've been producing for a long time and I've been mixing and mastering for a long time, I know like sometimes I watch something, I just click off. Like, I don't need to hear that. Or I speed up to get to this point because if I want to learn about parallel compression, if I want to learn about, just trying to mix low end frequencies, you know what I mean? You can then kind of skip around, but I do think it's important for you to invest in learning if you don't have the experience to know exactly what you're looking for, as Rick said. Good question, Demetrius. Good question, bro.
Yeah, good question.
So, there's any other questions over here? Okay, all right. So when it comes to, so we talked about your process. So gear, Reason. I've been on Reason, man, since 1.5, right? And primarily I use Reason, man, as a production, um, without the suite, but use it as a production horse. I never mixed and mastered in Reason because I always thought the sounds within. Right? What capacity do you use Reason, or when did you first start using Reason? I know you're on 11 now. We both on 11, but when did you start? When did you start on Reason, and why did you start with Reason?
So I would say I went from Acid 4.0, where you had to draw out everything with a mouse, from Acid 4.0 to Reason 2.0. Okay. So that was a big jump, So I wasn't having to draw out everything on with a mouse no more, The thing that I love about Reason is the drum programming. Yeah. It's just something about just making drum programming on Reason. It's just the flow is so much, it gives you more control over what I like to call putting your personality into the track. You know what I'm saying? It's like it gives you more your feel as who you are as a musician. You know what I'm saying? I could put my own feel into it, where I use Logic Pro to mix my stuff in, but it's harder to do the drums in Logic Pro than it is to do on Reason. So I just take my drums from Reason to Logic Pro.
So now we're going to come back to Logic Pro. We're going to go back to Reason. The Reason, what I love about Reason the most, man, is like if I'm playing some key work, if I'm doing keys, some chord progression, I'm building like a live feel song. I'll build it in Reason because I want to sound like a live band, because the quantization in Reason is rock solid.
It is.
You don't really have to go back and play. I found that, I do everything in Studio One, but although Studio One is dope and a lot of people use it, and it's getting better, I found, man, that nothing is as solid like the Reason sequencer. I think that's the dopest feature of it. Have been since Reason 1.5. You start play a lot of different runs and with your keys and a lot of you building. It gives you back what you play.
Right.
Now Logic. Y'all some different kind of y'all some different kind of people using Logic, because I bought Logic. I paid the $300 for it, and I think Studio One has spoiled me because I started, man, with Pro Tools. I have a hate relationship with Pro Tools, because when I started with Pro Tools, I did the LE version, right? And they only gave you 16 tracks.
Yeah.
And then you get 30. Well, you got 8 tracks simultaneously, and then you got 32 tracks. But then if you needed to expand that 32, you had to spend like another 1,000 to get 64. And then if you did, because at that time I was recording a lot of rappers, but then when I started recording singers, the problem that I had with Pro Tools is I had to stack my vocals and then bounce them out, bring them back in, stack them again and bounce them out, 30, 40, 50 times, whereas those jokers just could have unlocked the track and gave us all the tracks, right? Mm-hmm. That's what took me to Studio One, because they gave everything in the box. When I started trying to use Logic, just some of the functionality, like I know a lot of industry cats, on labels, and they've been using Logic for years, man.
Wow.
It's a different kind of animal, man. That's just it's not user friendly. So talk about why it's not user friendly, Rick. Since you love Logic, talk about why it's not user friendly.
I think it's quite user friendly, man. Because where Pro Tools comes in, man, is like when you go and set up your tracks and everything, you gotta it's good to know how to set up your tracks, how to set up your auxiliaries and all that stuff. When you go into Logic and you set your stuff up, it does the routing for you. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to do that. When you set up an auxiliary track, it does the routing for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing about it that's very user friendly. A lot of people make some hit music just off using stock Logic sounds. You know what I'm saying? Because they got some good sounds in there. And the thing is that Logic makes it easy for you to take the stock sounds that they have and tweak them. They have samplers and oscillators and stuff like that, where you can take a sound that already exists, or even take a wave file that you found offline and tweak it to make your own sound that nobody's ever even heard before. So it makes it even more user friendly like that. You know what I mean?
But the problem that we're facing right now, which I don't like, because I spent a lot of money in Logic because of course I score film, I score music to film,
Nice.
and I have to use Pro Tools when I score music to film. Obviously, right now, Studio One is trying to get into a little bit of the game, but they still got to kind of do a little bit more to the software so we can score with it. But I score in Pro Tools because when I need to bounce the picture down with sound, obviously I got everything right.
Right.
But when it comes to Logic surround sound, I bought Logic to start doing surround sound instead of me having to do it in Pro Tools. But the question I want to ask you, when it comes to now that we have the Logic 10.4.7, you have to have minimum Catalina 10.14, OS 10 with OS 10.14, which is Catalina. And the problem, when you start upgrading, because I'm a Mac guy, I find the operate because I'm on High Sierra, because I got a couple of Macs here. One has High Sierra, one has Sierra, but all my functionality works, and I don't want to upgrade because I don't want my stuff to start working.
Right.
So now if I want to use Logic, now they have some other features in Logic, right? You got to go to 10.14. So how does that affect you?
Man, I still have an old copy of Logic that I use. I still use 9.0 and 11.0. I got two different computers. So, when certain things don't work on the new Logic, where you got to upgrade, and like a lot of my Waves plugins didn't transfer to to that version. So I'll bounce stuff down to WAV file and then upload it into Logic 9 if I need to. You know what I'm saying?
So Demetrius just said, if you have zero experience in producing, what DAW would you all recommend? What about you, Rick? What would you recommend, Rick?
I would recommend Logic Pro. It does a lot of the work for you that somebody experienced that didn't go to school for. It'll be easier for them to because with Reason now you gotta know signal flow and stuff. You gotta be able to.
Now talk about the current learning curve in Logic, Rick. Don't make me throw a banana peel at you, bro. Talk about the learning. You got to mention that. What's the learning curve on Logic?
What
would you suggest? So basically, if someone, if you want to learn Logic, would you suggest that they go take a course on Udemy, learn Logic, learn the basics, functionality, right? Would you say yes to that?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say if you're new to producing, I would say Studio One, because Studio One is drag and drop. You don't have to, Studio One is really advanced, but it's very, very simple. You don't have to, especially when it comes to your VST instruments, you just drag them on the track and you just play. When you get ready to bounce your music down to MIDI, you just right click or hit Control and B, you bounce it down to audio. It's very, very user friendly, except now where Logic is better than if you're doing a lot of advanced work and you're doing a lot of movie stuff. I would say, Logic and Digi Performer 10, because a lot of the industry cats, man, that do a lot of movie work, they use those two platforms, so I would say, and obviously some people will say Reason, but the problem with Reason, if you're learning, it's good, but when you start mixing and mastering, it's just a little different. Because you got, when you're mixing and mastering, when you're mixing, it's called mixing by the ears, and there's mixing by the numbers. So when you mix by the ears, when you look at your settings, you may, if you're on a Windows system versus a Mac system, or if you're using, you mixing in Reason, you mixing in Logic, or you mixing in Studio One, you mixing by the ears, depending on the type of system that you have, that those numbers may not reconcile, right? You make the same compression that you're using on Reason may not be the same compression to get the same sound you're using on Logic or Studio One. That's called mixing by the ears. So then if you're strictly mixing by the numbers, you just going by a certain setting, you know, there is going to be totally different. So you just got to know your DAW. So we got a couple questions in here. I see Ricky, Pastor Bennett came in here, so here we are. So where we at? The learning curve is bonkers in Logic. I just told him that, but Rick, these Logic dudes are different animals. You know, they different people. They just weird. You know, no, I'm just kidding.
Shoot, man, I'm learning new stuff from y'all. Like I said, I'm not a producer, but you know, I've heard some of the terminologies.
New Window. So New Window is dope. New Window, but New Window is more complex, man, than Logic to me. New Window is not easy to figure out. You know, you gotta have 5 master degrees to run New Window if you never use Cubase. You know, just my opinion on that.
What's the latest that's out, man? That's the best right now.
Well, you know, that term best is subjective.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It depends on what you're trying to do. You know, there's a lot of electronic music. People would say Logic Pro is the best to go at it. You know, if you're doing a lot of hip hop or, you know, live stuff, Pro Tools a lot of times is a way.
That's why I see a lot of Pro Tools when it first came.
DJing and stuff like that. Because from what I understand, Just Blaze uses Reason and turntables and beat machines, and I think he uses Logic Pro too. But it's all about, you know, what you're trying to go for as far as what's the best for what. What I learned is it's not really a thing of what's right and what's wrong. There's not really a right and wrong way. The wrong way is just what sounds bad. If it don't sound good, it's wrong. But if it sounds good and it works and it is not distorted and all that stuff, then it's good. You know.
Pastor Bennett just said your DAW is user preference, and I got to agree 100%. You know, we all had our experiences. I started with Samplitude. I don't know if y'all remember Samplitude. I started producing on Samplitude, but then when I needed to do more advanced stuff, Samplitude just wasn't user friendly. And I think for me, your time is valuable. I wish, to be honest with you, right? I'm gonna say it, referring to the world, right? I wish, because when I started, I was actually the guy that taught me how to track was named Trice. He was Quincy Jones' assistant, and he used Logic. But I wanted to get up and going, and I just didn't get it. But I wish I would have learned Logic all this time, and because all the time that you put in, and you learn how something works, right? And then you don't want to change later on to a whole nother platform, because it's like you're learning. I mean, you're not learning from square one, but you are depending on the platform that you're going to. So people tend to finish with what they started with because they don't want to lose 4 months or 6 months just to learn something, the functionality of it. Got another. Yeah. Oh, we forgot Fruity. Fruity is popular with younger rap and dirty soft. Yeah, right. We forgot. No disrespect to the Fruity users. We just, you know, no, I didn't mean to disrespect the Fruity users. Hey, because Knife Wonder made it popular, and also my little brother Moses Mo Beats. This cat man, he was the first cat man I seen up close, man, use Fruity. He makes some phenomenal stuff, and Fruity has evolved, man. So
yes, man. Yo,
Fruity ain't no game, bro. Fruity ain't no game no more. I can't even laugh at Fruity.
Yeah, I look at Fruity Loops, man, a lot. I tried to use it. I was like, yo, man, it's too much for me, bro. So yeah, Fruity Loops done come a long way, dude.
So basically, man, you know, the next segment that we finna push into, man, is called 10. You know, it's where I ask you 10. Hold on. Somebody said some. Whoa. Okay, Rick say he started with Sonar. Yeah, Sonar is another one that's not user friendly. You know, but yeah, yep, all day. So I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna make 10 statements. And it's either or. It's called 10. You're not allowed to think about it. You have to give us what's off the top of your head.
Top of the dome.
Off the top of the dome. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just your answer.
Okay, right? I get a prize at the end.
You get a prize at the end. You get to go. You need to get out. You get to get off the show. No, I'm just making a joke. As a, of course, what I always offer all my guests is that everybody that you see appear here, and when you appear on the show, you got lifetime access to push your products. And that's what I give you back, man, to being on the show. You don't have to pay to push your products if you are a guest on the show. That's always open for the guests. So you're going to get that anyway, bro.
Appreciate that.
No matter what platforms, and we're growing, man. We got about 6-7 platforms that they're starting to take off, and that still give you, being a guest on this show, you'll be sponsored, man, on In the Box, man, and with no cost. So here we go. $250 million with 5 years to live, or $400K with 7 years to live.
Go with $400K with 7.
Okay, all right. Mike Epps or Kevin Hart?
Yeah. Kevin Hart.
Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock?
Dave Chappelle.
Bizzle or Flame?
Bizzle.
Reed B versus or Gabriel Parker from POR?
Reed B. I can't trust him though.
Malcolm X or Martin Luther King?
Martin.
Mint Condition or Tony?
Ooh, that's a good one. Tony.
GTA 5 or NBA 2K20?
Okay, all day.
Okay. A 19,000 member church or a 10-member house church?
I'll go with a 10-member house church.
Jared Sanders or Datton Barrios?
I don't know who either one of those are.
Me.
Oh, Datton. No, I know who Datton is. Jared Sanders. Okay, I had to process what you said. Datton. Datton is that dude.
Dayton. That's his name.
Dayton.
I call him Datton, but it's Dayton.
Okay,
All right, so
Dayton.
don't kill me, bro.
Okay.
Man, that's good, bro. Ron, anything that you want to share, bro? And, we wrapping up. We got 3 minutes left, man. Anything you want to share? You want to talk about, Ron?
Nah, man, just say, man, great show, Doc. Keep doing what you're doing, and yes, with marketing and promotions, if you need some help, hey, we're here for you and things. But that's the key thing that artists have to understand is that their biggest expense is marketing and promotion. Yeah, you can have a hot song, but if don't nobody hear it, hey, it's no good, unfortunately. So,
any last words, man? Any last words, Rick?
Oh man, I just want to just say thank y'all for having me on, man. I appreciate you giving me the phone call. You know what I'm saying? I was humbled. I'll just say look for me on Facebook, Rick Reed Productions on Facebook. That's RIKREED. If you add a C there, you're not gonna find me. So Rick Reed Productions or Rick Reed Music on Facebook. That's RIKREED.
So, man, so we got some new music, man, that's gonna be coming from you, bro. Man, we got an album in the work. What we got? Instrumental album. What we got coming from Rick Reed in the next 2 days? What we got, bro? What we got coming?
I'm actually working on a project called Between the Lines. So my name is Rick Reed. Read Between the Lines. So there's a message in the music. There's a message between the lines. So I'm working on that.
And also, bro, man, I'm just making a suggestion to you, bro. I think you need to go ahead and do a little course for Logic, man, and do a little live. Break it down, man. You need to do a live and start cracking that Logic open, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because, obviously he didn't mention it. I'm going to mention it. This dude graduated from Full Sail. So
yeah, went apart.
He's a smart cat, like super smart. And, like I said, cats who use Logic, They're different kind of animals, right? So I think you need to kind of break open your podcast, man, or kind of do some cook-ups, you know, and teach Logic, man. At least, you know, because I think a lot of people, you know, we all need to migrate a little bit to Logic. But my problem is I don't want to upgrade to Catalina. I want to stay on High Sierra because all my stuff works.
Yeah.
You know, are you using Mac, man? Or are you using Windows?
I use Mac.
Rick, there you go. Dad, where Rick at? Where my brother? Hey, because we always argue about Mac Windows. See, we got another cat man that's using Mac, so I want to hear you talk about it. Full Sail Graduate. What y'all use up in Full Sail Graduate? What y'all use? Y'all use Windows computer? Y'all use Windows? You mean to tell me none of y'all labs are not set up with Windows computers, bro?
Nah, every student that goes to Full Sail for recording arts, they give each student a MacBook. Each student.
I'm telling you, when Full Sail first opened up, I had the opportunity to go. It was brand new. I mean, I had a free ride, and I blame my mama for that because I didn't know that I could have came home and stayed with her. Because man, they was having classes like at 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever.
Oh yeah.
I was like, man.
Oh yeah.
Awesome, man.
Man, I want to say, man, I'm just making jokes, man. Really, it doesn't matter, man. I prefer Mac. You know, I do a lot of work, man, on Windows. Here go the comments came in. There he is. Rick talking about Windows. Windows is better. We had this argument all the time, bro. We'll stay up all night long and argue about Mac and Windows, bro.
And I'm gonna just say I still use my MacBook from 10 years ago, man. Like any Windows computers that I've had, they conk out in like 2 years, man.
Go back. Repeat that. Repeat that again. Rick,
I still got my Mac that I had in 2010. I still use it to this day.
2009, right here. So
don't be no hater, Rick. Don't be no hater. Did you just hear what Rick Reed? You hear what Rick Reed just said? Rick Reed, you just said. Repeat that again, boy. You said what?
2010.
Yeah.
Rick said he using a Mac computer from 10 years ago. Yeah. Tell me what Windows computer that you're using from 2010 right now. Who's still doing some real major work?
Once you go Mac, you go back. I'm just telling you.
Man, look, hey, listen. Remember this. Jesus said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh until the Father said by me. I'm finna put y'all in the green room. Hold up, man, before you get off. Hey, listen. If you're just not tuning in, watch the replay, man. It was a great show. I'm always happy, man, for you guys to tune in. I hope you learned something, man. And I want to say God bless and good night.